Hmm. And if anyone wants to address either of these in this public hearing, please sign up on the sheet right there.
1 o'clock, we need to call the historic district commission to order. Roll call, please.
Pat Brown,
Here.
Wayne Keith,
Here.
Kathy Golden, and Savels.
Here.
You do have the quorum.
We have a public hearing in regards to 2 items in the agenda. First one is an application, appropriateness application for 101 Main Street. If anybody is interested in speaking in favor of or against, please come up to the podium.
I can briefly explain what the work on the building is now, or I can do it during the regular.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it's like, yeah. Good. Already, so we'll close that one. Second one is the certificate of appropriateness application for 108 West Stevenson Avenue. If there's anybody here speaking in favor or against, come up please, and please state your name.
I'm Leanna Zimmerman, so what we've got, I don't know, if we're able to pull the pictures up possibly, but the front, so we've had to completely redo it. And we just pulled the glass out, it wasn't tempered, and it's gonna be an indoor face legend, so we've had to replace the whole front. And we're planning to do a garage roll-up door at bar height, so that it can open and we can have parents and customers kind of sitting there looking out at downtown. And then we also want to paint it, a fun color just to draw attention, so we're looking into doing a shade of a blue to get a lot of attention downtown. So what we want to do, we don't really have any plans for lighting, we might do something kind of under the doorway. But the actual front part, we want to replace it with brick, going up as far as possible to keep the look of brick. And then everything else would probably just have to be kind of covered in panels that would be above the garage door.
Where's the brick?
The brick would be below,
Show that here.
yes, that's just kind of a mock-up I had made, it was done very well, but this would be all brick here. And then this here is also a little bit, I would do it, it's just gonna be windows and that.
This.
Yes.
Anything else?
That's it.
Is this also the one that's on the public paper?
Yes, that's us.
This says local brew up here.
That's, I had just kind of a mock-up done online, because I just needed to get a visual of what it looked like, and so that's kind of the best AI would give me. So they kind of added a few extra things that weren't supposed to be there.
Okay. Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in regards to this application? If not, I will close the public hearing. And we will have approval of the minutes from our May, let's see, it was May the 11th. Everybody have a chance to review and read the minute.
Make a motion to pass the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, new business. We have an application for a certificate of appropriateness for 101 North Main Street, which is the former old Walters Building for Provalis. Wait, Steve?
Yeah, so, we are working towards the renovation of the Walters Building, into office space. It does include some modifications, or I guess, changes in the exterior building that we require review by the commission. It is a contributing structure. So the exterior modifications would be replacement of existing windows, top level would be replacement with windows that look similar to the historic period. We are looking at storefront replacement on the first level, both facing Main Street, and then a section that's facing what we all call the hole in square. There's an opening there that we're going to put in storefronts. Removal of awnings over the top of the floors. There is no plans to replace those at this time. If that plan comes up, then I would have to bring this back again for additional review. We are placing a generator in the hole in the square towards the back. It will pretty well be screened from view at Main Street for the most part, with the Lions Den park that will be built on the front half. And then we are doing some modifications on the back end next to the generator for ADA access, but there's no modifications to any buildings. It's just actually lowering that old building's elevation, the old building foundation down, so we have an ADA access to the alley in the back for emergency egress.
Is that to that back corridor?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's pretty much a summary of what's planned out there.
How much lower is that going to be?
It's gonna be about on average 2 to 4 foot, because it's got a little bit of slope on the alley out there. You know,
Generator pad is going to be.
original pad will have to be elevated above base flood elevation, so it's pretty high from the air.
So that the upper courtyard will be on a different level, right? Whereas the same level as the generator.
The upper courtyard, the generator will be on the upper courtyard behind the Lions Den park, but it will not be on a section where it's lower in the back, because we have to put that up on a platform to get it out of the, to get it up above the base flood elevation.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear them well, but are you gonna take the awnings off of those upstairs windows?
Yes, it is proposed that the awnings are to come down right now, we're going to replace them.
Actually, I was looking back in the flood pictures,
Mhm.
there was never any except,
Oh, really?
you know, in 1961.
Yeah.
They're curious.
And one of the plans was replacing that storefront on that first level facing Main Street, is to actually bring it back out flush with the building.
Because wasn't it
It
originally?
was originally flush with the building before the flood. But rebuilt.
Flood pushed back.
So that would actually, while it's a larger storefront, it does bring the profile of the building back to what it was actually. The period of historic significance.
You think there'll be any issue with line of sight trying to turn right onto Main Street off of, Stevenson?
From the building now, I think our bigger issue would be making sure landscaping to go away.
That flower plan, 3,000 or what is that?
And I'm just curious, but if you just have first floor plan, aren't they using the second floor as well?
They are, I included the first floors because it showed what kind of area we're running. Was dropping down. I was just trying to limit the amount of sheets I threw that.
Do you see any issues?
I sent everything we had for this month down to Ian with Arkansas Historic Preservation, since we're, still working off just the secretary standards and haven't fully developed the local ones. He had a little bit of concern initially about the replacement of the windows. He talked to a few others down there. Since we're coming back with that appearance of that double hung, trying to maintain the exterior appearance of what it looked like, they were good with that. They did like that we were bringing the building back out to the original profile on the first level. Since he did inquire as to whether the opening on the north side facing the hole in the square is the existing opening, which it is, so that kind of gives us the opportunity to do that storefront, which that was a little iffy when we really look at it as far as not facing the public front.
What about the gray brick that's on the front? No plan that
No plan to replace or do anything with that.
so they feel that's still in keeping.
As long as we're not, I mean, as long as we're not touching now, that was added after the period that for the methods, but the likelihood of damaging the underlaying, we're trying to remove it is greater than any problem that we got as far as leaving that ground.
What they removed to put it on. Question? No painting of the existing brick?
No.
The existing brick above the grade looks like it has been painted.
Is it off color?
It's not, I'm sure it's actually.
Originally, a whole buff brick. I'm talking about that about behind it. It's a long house.
I think that's just a great brick. We have no plans to paint.
Well, obviously, this is a new course for us. This will be our first certificate of appropriateness. If anybody has any questions or?
Just a question, off the first level, there is a. You know, I'm on the back of the building, what is that going to be used for?
Where we're lowering, where I noted lower existing concrete pad.
No, on the top.
Top, what, just top patio?
Back here.
Oh, as far as, right now, it won't be used for anything on that top level, it's just for the top.
Is Lions Club still planning on building out the front end of that?
Back here.
Yeah, before that Main Street, that's under construction.
It will be, we're waiting on, the generator might have to be set with the crane, and so the only way to do that would be from Main Street. And so we're waiting on whether there's allow us to use the forklift like everything from the back, if not, we'll have to set that because we really can't do the divider wall or some of that work is part of it until that's done.
Brian.
I don't have one set right now, we're going through some DE options on the interior of the building. There's be one that we may I may end up coming back with some modifications, that where we're actually not replacing windows, that end, so I can, it's just still those things trying to get everything worked out, but I wanted to at least get the proposed plans of what we really want to do in front of the commission, so you get you input.
Is there a basement in this?
No.
Have questions to wait? Permission.
Let's see it, are we going ahead with a motion?
I think so.
Well, I like the commission approve what you just said, have been brought to us for this building.
I'll go ahead and second. We have a motion to approve the plans that have been submitted. City, any discussion? The motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Carries. Next item we have is for a certificate of appropriateness located at 208 West Stevenson. Take that again, please.
Leanna Zimmerman.
You want to say anything before?
I guess just before you ask questions, the building is non-contributing to the district. We'll make sure everybody's aware.
Wait, you want to get up and speak? Go ahead and let me speak first.
Sure. The building is non-contributing to the district, so that's just one thing to keep in mind, as you know, we're taking a look at that. Sent it down to historic preservation as well. I had initially had concern about painting the brick, because when I was looking at pictures, I registered that it was exposed, it's actually already painted, so there's really no issue with that. The only thing that historic preservation offered a little bit of caution about was the garage door. While it is a non-contributing building, so it's not necessarily something that would absolutely be prohibited. They caution that, you know, as you have other businesses down there, buildings down there that want to take a look at, they see what one building does. And then if they want to do the same in their contributing building, then that could be something that creates a little bit of a problem for the commission regulating this, but also at the same time, they did pointed out that every building has to be taken on an individual case by case basis, and then how it relates to the district as a whole. So they didn't say no, but they did offer a little bit of word of caution about being reinforced.
Contributing to one, but more non-contributing buildings could obviously open up.
Yes.
Maybe even open up. Okay, any questions? You want anything you want to add?
I don't believe so, aside from just adding in more brick to what's currently there, and then as Wade mentioned, it already is painted and it's currently painted 4 different colors and spots, so we want to get it all smoothed out into one.
So when you talk about painting the exterior blue, what are you talking about, blue?
We don't have the exact shade picked out, it would be something similar to what is in that picture, but more like a light blue or like
What are you painting?
the whole exterior, that'd be the brick, the inside walls of the walkway where the door is, the whole front would be blue.
All the way to the top of the building,
Yes, everything aside from what the windows and the framing would be.
and then what?
Everything aside from what the windows and framing would be.
Is there an upstairs in that building?
Not real, in the back, there's a set of stairs that kind of goes up to like a little storage room, but it's not really considered an upstairs. Yes.
Did he say anything in regards to the painting of the exterior?
He did not, since, once we realized it was already, the brick's already painted, there's no harm in repainting already painted brick. And we don't regulate, in the historic district, you don't regulate the color.
Right.
It's been painted in 2 or 3 different colors, you can look at it and see.
Well, of course, I'll just add my 2 cents for it at this point, but I think garage doors are not traditional features in a historic commercial facade. I'm just a little concerned that we may set a precedence and that adding traditional modern elements into it. But is there no way that garage door could be taken, the track could be taken to the inside of the building?
The track is on it would be on the inside.
Because it shows on the outside.
That's, as I mentioned before, I had to have AI kind of make me a mock-up, and there's a lot of mistakes in there, so it is supposed to be on the inside. That was just as good as I could get the picture to be.
So what would the garage door be made of?
It's actually ordered from Shannon's overhead door, so it would be similar to like at Brick Oven, their garage doors they have on their outside patio. It would be a similar style to what they have. Ours would just be starting at bar height, so we can do like bar top seating from the inside.
did you look at opportunities that might be, look like more traditional windows, but would fold up sideways, kind of accordion back in sideways instead of a garage door? Nice little garage door.
Yes.
But,
I looked into it a little bit, but, everything I would have had to order online, and so I felt more comfortable ordering from a local store that I was confident really what I was getting. So we couldn't really find anybody that could do that in the size we needed, so it just made more sense to go the garage door route.
How big is the garage?
It's a 12 by 8.
8 wide?
Yes. Actually, I apologize, it might be 12, I think it's 12 wide.
yeah, it'd be like 12 wide, it'd be bigger than 8 wide.
Is that the size of, for example, a two car garage?
12 foot, now would be big enough for 2 cars.
Okay,
We did it 12 by 8 just because I believe the main front is 16. If we did it any smaller, we would have just had to fill in with more windows or more brick. So we wanted the garage door to take up the majority of it, so that way the framing was gonna be less for the contractors.
Did you consider possibly looking at 3, 4 foot wide single hung windows?
We did, and the cost of it was pretty expensive just to replace, the whole front was windows, and so for multi-purpose use out of the garage door, especially because it's gonna be, we're putting a kids nonprofit in the front. So we also thought, well, during events like parades, we can open the garage door and sell hot chocolate during parades and kind of do things like that, so use it for different reasons.
Wade, I apologize, my hearing aids aren't working real good. But when a non-contributing building, which we've got several around the square due to way life has dealt around here. Do we just make suggestions or what?
I think the key on that is gonna be preserving the historical elements that are still left on that building. So as an example, if the brick were not painted, if it was still a natural brick that,
Even brick,
that was part of the historic, period of historical significance back 49 and before. That's where that's gonna be a hard no. Yes, on some of the more modern elements that cause it to not be contributing, it is a little bit of a. You can take the position of not approving, but you can also try to guide and try to educate people as far as, what could be done that might be more appropriate for the district. But at the end of the day, if it's a non-historic element that they're replacing with a non-historic element on a contributing building, there's nothing that will necessarily prevent you from allowing that. It's just, Ian's big hot caution was, if somebody, let's just say the building that we're working on, if we wanted to do that entire storefront with roll-up doors on the front, well, that's gonna be a different issue because we are a contributing structure. The goal is to keep it contributing.
But if we're introducing modern elements, are we not basically making it more incompatible? Or
The current elements that you're replacing really aren't compatible with the other way. So that's where the balance and the drop off. And a lot of that is gonna help get clarified as we actually develop our local standards, which I do want to bring up to other business once we get through this. Right now, we're just dealing with the basic standards from the Secretary of the Interior. Our goal right now is preserving as much on these buildings that does fit historic as we can, whether they're contributing or not contributing. Encouraging people to take uncontributing buildings and try to make them closer to contributing, but that's not something we can necessarily push or require.
Does the necessity of the feature we're considering to the kind of business that's gonna be conducted in there, can that be, for example, what I'm thinking about is if she's saying that this garage door is important to the way she wants her business to function. That might be, would that be a strike in her favor? And with regard to what might happen in the future with people wanting garage doors, they would have to establish a business necessity.
I mean, I think it can, at the discretion of the commission, that can be something that you do take into consideration for the approval. And I use the Walters building because I know when Russell was looking for the restaurant there, you know, they had planned on putting garage doors along that entire front storefront. And when we were going through historic preservation, that was something that they were being really hung up on. But again, that's a contributing structure.
If it was, I mean, if this building was contributing, garage door would be a no-no, right?
Right.
But yeah, I know you used AI to do the drawing, that's pretty good.
It was the only way I could get a good visual of it before we made the decision to go that route. I just needed to be able to see it a little bit.
I can tolerate the garage door if it's gonna be multiple painting windows like this. But
Yes.
when it's shut, it's gonna look
Look like a
more
window.
traditional.
Mhm.
Let me ask you about the paint.
Okay.
And the reason I'm concerned about the paint is, and I know why you said you wanted it bright to catch people's eyes like that, the blouse you're wearing, it's pretty close color paint, so you like blue, I get that. But I'm worried about the other non-contributory buildings around the square. If all of them use bright colors to catch everybody's eye, it's gonna look weird.
And we can go a more neutral color. Blue would just be ideal for us because it's one of our, it's in our logo a little bit, so we're just kind of want to blend everything. And like I said, it would catch people's attention, but we can always go a more neutral route as well. We're not completely set on a color like that.
My personal preference is even more neutral, because it blends in with the other buildings around you. The one just to your left here, is any prize winning building.
It's red. It's painted red to the left.
Yeah, that's.
We have, part of that red is on our building too.
I understand, I appreciate what you tolerate that. You just have to be the first one to walk into our meeting with something and it's a non-contributing building, which we don't know what to do with anyway.
Right.
So, I'd like to see a more neutral color. I have no control over that. I don't think our committee does, but when I just look around the square, you take the old Times building, good grief, that's a huge chunk of that north side of the square. If somebody bought that and decided to paint it yellow. Now we got. Yeah.
It's not.
Does that go back to the fact that it's brick and it had never been painted?
So I would say if it's an unpainted brick or an unpainted stone, we would not allow that going forward.
Okay, well, that was clearly painted.
If it's already painted, they can repaint however they see fit. You know, there's ways to try and strip and expose the existing brick and stone, but I think it's very difficult.
We got caught for damage.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
damaged.
Right. So that's why instead of forcing people to go back, they just allow them to continue to repaint it. So
Again, we can't really control paint colors, that's not our bag, that's not in our wheelhouse, but obviously. At least we can make a recommendation.
Like I said, we're not set on that, but it was just what we liked initially, so we can always consider more neutral for sure.
Now, interior, you're gonna have kids in there, whatever color you want, we don't care. So. Those were my two comments. The window is having a slide in, as you mentioned that, I don't mind the multiple paintings, that will look a little more traditional.
Yes, and we do see it as a good perk too, because we know there's not a lot of places downtown that have, say, like outdoor seating, or you can get fresh air and just kind of have that perk of downtown, so this is kind of doing it in a little bit of different.
We're seeing this in other cities and stuff.
Yes.
All the time.
People really
All the
like it.
restaurant combos are doing things like this, the seating area and the windows that move, so I like the concept.
I don't know if I had to open up last week. Or this week.
Flavor would have been shut and air conditioning problem was still. My issue was really the color, do consider something more muted, because I get worried about. All of a sudden, we're trying to keep this historic thing looking pretty cool.
So. We'll make the lights company know of concerns about setting precedent on buildings. Right, sure. That's the only issue I see. Start setting precedent.
With reservations.
Yeah. I tell you, because if you start letting them bring garage doors all the way to the ground, stuff, it will look like brick oven, which is their outdoor deal, and it's designed for that. Our downtown is not. But to have an open bar height thing. Doesn't bother me. Anything else?
Well, I guess my comment on those two things is number one, there aren't that many surfaces facing the square that can be painted at all. Most of it is storefront and brick and stone has never been painted. And then secondly, I think if somebody just wants a garage door because it's cheaper than getting storefront windows or something like that, we would say, well, the only time we have approved anything has been for the non-conforming structure and it's not a necessity for your building. And so for that reason, I would move, and I so move, the ready for motion.
Yes.
That the application be approved as she made, as made by Ms. Simmons.
And clarification, garage door tracks would be on the inside, not the outside.
Yes, I do, yes.
Yes, they're on the inside.
Second. The other. We have a motion and a second from Wayne. Any discussion, further discussion? Any other clarifications? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
No other business other than. Wait, needs to.
Yes. So actually, Ian, might be on the ring with Historic Preservation Shopping email late morning. Our grant cycle is coming up this fall for us to apply for a CLG grant. Get some funding to develop our local standards. So he sent me a list of multiple consultants that will do that type of work, have done that type of work recently in Arkansas. That are familiar with the state and how their process is. So my first step is to reach out to them and start getting proposals back from them. So what I'll probably do, as those come in, I'll probably package them up, send them to you, and just kind of keep everybody informed as far as where we're at. He said the application process is pretty simple. It's online, there's 3 parts, and the biggest thing that I need to be working on right now is get some quotes in so we don't have much to ask for.
So we don't have a dollar amount,
No, not yet. That's what I'm gonna reach out to these firms this afternoon when I get back to my office and kind of see if I can set up the time for them to take a look at our district and give
How
me.
many firms?
He sent four options
Do
to.
we expect the grant to cover the full cost?
That is my hope, yes. Otherwise, I've got to go have a whole other discussion with our city council.
Online.
I believe the grants are due in October, the application was due in October, and they would typically be awarded, I think, before the end of the year. I'm hoping to have proposals back in September, that way I've got that info well ahead of time, because he did advise that whatever quotes you get back, proposals you get back, you include those in the grant application, so I can see that we've got them. It just helps justify the work that we're requesting.
And that would be just to review the inventory and set up guidelines?
That would be to develop the local historic district design guidelines. To where instead of some of the discussion right now, we're actually listing out, this is what is and isn't allowed in our district, this is what's preferred, this is not what is preferred. That'll make it a lot more clear for people like Ms. Simmons and the rest of our industry group.
I'd like to, I guess Kathy will be leaving us in 2 weeks.
That's fine.
She's got to move out of her house. 2 weeks, so. She's heading to Alabama.
Yep.
So, anyway, I do appreciate your time with you.
It's been great working with y'all.
I'm gonna miss you. So we're gotta find somebody to replace you with. Do your shoes.
We're still looking for two, we're gonna be looking for two new commissioners.
So, I guess, Miss Donna, you gonna put out the.
I sure can, still need to be in the city limits.
City
Yeah,
limit.
registered voter in the city limits is your part of the fast requirement.
Okay.
And looking for background in history or architecture, like, you know, just. But more importantly, somebody who cares about the downtown and maybe has been here a while, knows a little bit about it.
Will do.
Thank you for your service.
Pleasure.
All right. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion, second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Next meeting.
Oh, next week.
September 14th, I wrote it down there. Monday, September 14th, 1 o'clock.
You think you'll have to talk to me?
We might have another COA. Baxter. Baxter. Boston.